Okay, we're gonna do a short video about why Gragas is basically the best jungler in the Worlds patch, in terms of his flexibility in the draft and enabling a lot of the other strong champions in the current meta to be picked.
Gragas is generally used to open up more flexibility in the draft since it makes it impossible for the enemy team to go for immobile AD carries, most notably Kog'Maw, Varus, and Twitch, which are used versus heavy tanks with the likes of Cho'Gath, Sejuani, and so on. He is free to go in with flash body slams, and his explosive cast into this position the enemy AD carry to Gragas' team or away from the supportive cast of the champions that the enemy team provides, such as Lulu and Janna, and furthermore. Another key factor is that he counters high health tanks through the likes of Kog'Maw Varus that go for Rage Blade, Blade of the Ruined King combo. Since he is a great engage and disengage champion, he can feel good for both of them. He's most notably countered by disengage champions, which are the likes of Janna, which is either bannable or taken at the same rotation that Gragas is, such as Gragas and Janna are the strongest for first pick rotation for red side, since it allows them to go for both engage and disengage whenever they want. And Gragas is viewed as the strongest red side pick when Janna is banned. Gragas is superior in the sense of actually initiating a fight in the later stages of the game because of his ability to knock back enemy carries onto his team, as well as he is currently sitting at 100% win rate versus Jarvan on the world stage.
Moving to Sejuani is obviously the tankier of all three of these tanks because of her passive, and this makes her a good counter to the crit AD carries, so that would be Twitch, Tristana, Caitlyn, and Xayah. Xayah most notably is considered a good pick against Gragas because of her ult, making her relatively safe in the late game. But these carries are obviously weaker against a stronger tank. She's also obviously countered by Kog'Maw and Varus because these carries can shred through her through a large health pool quite quickly, and her low mobility makes it hard for her to actually get in range or to threaten these AD carries in the way that Gragas can with his ult. Her early game is stronger than Gragas, and considered somewhat similar to Jarvan, and she can definitely set up tower dives better in side lanes. But the other problem with her is that in late game she's weaker because she's countered by Mikael's Crucible, QSS, and Cleanse.
Moving on to Jarvan, Jarvan enables picks such as Shen, Galio, and Corki, which are usually not as good as without them having a 100% engage. And since his flag and drag combo or his ultimate allow Shen to ult on top of him or Galio to ult on top of him, it makes it for a perfect stunlock scenario. As well as Jarvan's ult enables Orianna to put on her bow on him and go for a perfect shockwave. Jarvan is a perfect addition to a team with a crit AD carry inside, just because his armor pen is percentage-wise. He shreds 10% of the enemy tanks' armor. Given that, any AD carry of the caliber of Xayah, Tristana, or Twitch would have an easier time versus champions as Sejuani. Given that, Jarvan is really good versus Sejuani for that matter. As well as Jarvan enables low CC solo lanes, for example, the likes of Jace or Talia, to actually go in and provide a first blood or a flash drained.
In terms of the draft flexibility, Gragas is obviously the counter to the immobile carries, while also enabling those carries at the same time. On the other hand, Sejuani locks the enemy out of the crit AD carries, while providing similar engage to Jarvan. But Gragas is also considered similar to Jarvan in terms of the engage, and is arguably better late game because he requires He requires both flash and QSS to be able to jump out of his ult, while Sejuani can just be countered by the active item, not requiring flash. Jarvan is the same for low mobility AD carries, where you need to have flash to be able to get out of his engage. So in that sense, having an AD carry with a dash such as Tristana and Caitlyn is better against Jarvan.
Moving on, the first draft example is if you pick Gragas as a first pick for blue side, which allows you a high flexibility because the enemy team can't pick Kog'Maw, Varus, or Twitch, just because it denies them away from actually initiating any fights, as well as it's a counter. It's only countered by picks such as Janna that stop him from engaging with his body slam. Also, first pick Gragas enables you to have a Cho'Gath top lane, since the gank potential of Cho'Gath Gragas is amazing, as well as their early damage is considerably really good. It enables you to actually have a Lulu Taric, since a Taric ultimate on Gragas renders him the same tankiness as a Sejuani would, and he wouldn't be shredded for a risky flash body slam in. And it enables Lulu to actually ult him in, which is basically the same as static. If Sejuani is actually banned, the only option you have versus Gragas is to pick Jarvan or a B tier jungler, and we already settled the fact that Jarvan is literally 0% win rate versus Gragas. The only weakness to first pick Gragas would be something of the likes of Galio, which is really good versus Kog'Maw, Varus because they're immobile AD carries, and Galio counters them with his ult plus taunt.
And then the last thing would be that that overall you can still get away with low engage champions, unlike Sejuani first pick, where you need to have engage in other lanes if you want to succeed in late game. The second example would be going with that first pick Sejuani or a Jarvan, and this could be countered by Gragas, as we mentioned several times. Jarvan is 0% win rate into Gragas, and Sejuani first pick would have the problem of something like a Gragas Kog'Maw Gragas Kog'Maw rotation by the red side team, which would counter Sejuani in the late game because Kog'Maw is just a lot stronger at killing Sejuani in late game. And of course, Sejuani's team cannot then pick up the Kog'Maw and Varus or Twitch because of the fact that of the threat that Gragas poses on the immobile AD carries. Any Cho'Gath pick by the blue side then would also be countered by the Kog'Maw Varus and would be enabled by Gragas, similarly to the first pick blue side Gragas. And then the only response from blue side again is Galio or Janna, and both of them are likely banned by the red side team.
Another example is if you go for a Kog'Maw or Varus first pick on blue side, which is situational and depending on the team that is playing. For example, that could be possible if it would be RNG or World Elite playing, since they're most notably the best users of Juggernaut comp, which are basically insta-countered by Gragas, as well as Janna and Gragas can be first rotation, and that they could be first rotation picked by red side, which renders the Kog'Maw and Varus most likely useless, as well as you can pick Gragas and Cho'Gath despite being countered by Kog'Maw, Varus into the first rotation of red side, just because Gragas can actually put the enemy AD carry that is Kog'Maw or Varus into Cho'Gath Rupture, and from that they become actually killable. And the whole assumption of Gragas being better than the other junglers is because of his dispositioning spell.
So overall, basically, the fact that Gragas is hugely important around the Kog'Maw and Varus picks, which are arguably the strongest AD carries on this patch, apart from Parmavan Kalista. Gragas has a huge influence over the draft that the two other junglers don't have, in the fact that the Kog'Maw specifically has very good strength into Cho'Gath and Sejuani and several other important picks, which are also counters to the remaining pool of AD carries. And then Gragas is very disruptive in the sense that he allows you to pick up these AD carries and somewhat discourages the enemy team to pick the AD carries at the same time. And overall, in basically what is 100% an AD carry meta, this is the most important thing to do, is just enable the strongest AD carry picks while keeping the enemy away from them.
The only thing that Sejuani is way superior to Gragas is that she stops champions such as Tristana and Caitlyn to actually be picked, since she doesn't care about going in and getting damage, since both Tristana and Caitlyn are not going to go for percentage damage. So she's basically like unkillable by either of them, making her a better pick towards Tristana, which is the most notably picked by big teams right now.